Welcome in. It's ACC Baseball Etc. As always, presented by our friends at Pitch Logic, the system used by players, coaches, scouts, and instructors at all levels of play, from youth leagues to the big leagues. The easy-to-use and affordable technology makes the platform accessible to every player at every level. All the metrics and features used at the highest level. Go to pitchlogic.com for more information. Not going to lie to you, this is going to be a little different than what we normally do on ACC Baseball Etc. I'm Daron. No gravy today, unfortunately. Although he could have just hopped over to your place, Kyle. I'm joined by Kyle Bandujo. You've got a book coming out this week, and you got a copy of it? Yes,
I do. Yeah, I got my nice author copy here.
I pre-ordered, and it's on its way. It has not shipped or delivered yet. It has shipped. It hasn't delivered yet. So, okay. Kyle Bandujo, if this midway through sounds like it's a conversation between old friends, dare I say even old summer ball teammates, that's because it is. We played summer collegiate baseball together many moons ago.
I was about to say, you want to hear something gross? You know how long ago that was?
It was
14 years ago.
14 years. So I'm very excited to have Kyle on because he's got a book out, and I promise we're going to tie this in with ACC baseball. Just give me a second to explain. The title of the book is Movies with Balls. And Kyle, I'm going to allow you to sort of explain the inception of this. I think it in part was born of your Big Screen Sports podcast with Blue Wire, where you talk about movies, and it is a book about sports movies. What am I missing?
It is. So Movies with the Ball is the greatest sports films of all time, analyzed and illustrated. You ready for your quick ACC tie-in?
Yeah.
The illustrator of this book, truly like the guy who created the inspiration for this book, my co-author, my illustrator, Rick Bryson, he was sitting around one day and he was like, what would the tickets of famous sports movie events look like? The ticket for Rocky IV, the ticket for the Nuke LaLoosh game in Bull Durham, the ticket for the dodgeball championship and dodgeball. What would those look like? Rick is he lives in Greenville, South Carolina, but is a huge UNC fan. So there's your ACC tie-in.
Nice.
Big UNC basketball guy.
Okay.
But he created that. We connected. He reached out to me, and the original idea was just a coffee table book. I've been talking about sports movies every week on Big Screen Sports for 5+ years now. And it was initially just going to be blurbs and write-ups on these tickets. And it spawned into, we decided to create this thing of this love letter to what ended up being 26 of the greatest fictional sports movies of all time. So why we love the movie, why we love the specific scene, like a specific breakdown of a game. Most sports movies, as you know, have a big game at the end or something like that. A couple of the ones that didn't, we kind of improv there, but breaking down why do we revisit these movies, every time they're on TNT or TBS. The classic, Tin Cups on, they just started the final round of the US Open. I'm going to hang around for 2 commercials and watch Rory McIlroy blow up. We picked an MVP for each game. We broke down if someone in the movie was good or not at their job. So like Rachel Phelps in Major League, good at her job, might have actually invented Moneyball. Rachel Phelps, a decade before Billy Beane. White Goodman's lawyers in dodgeball, bad at their job. They're, I don't know how you get forced out of a company, with just a $5 million investment that you founded. Broke it down. There's a lot of great visuals, play maps. Rick is the consummate tinker, so has a lot of cool things from what would, Michael J. Fox's character in Teen Wolf, what would his custom sneaker look like, to what would the ball that Roy Hobbs hit into the lights in The Natural look like as it was scorched by the exploding light. So a lot of fun, different features. And it's available. Unless this is coming out today, it is now available wherever books are sold. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, online places, should be at local retailers, but I'll be honest, I don't really know how any of that works, but I do know it's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So, yeah, it's illustrated, looks great on a shelf, looks great on a coffee table, is a great gift book. So you can knock out if you've got, your parents, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents, you can knock out all your Christmas shopping right now. So yeah, movies with balls. That's my spiel.
All right. So first off, go get your own copy of Movies with Balls, Amazon or Barnes and Noble. I would assume those are kind of your preferred outlets for that.
Yeah. I will say the website bookshop.org will buy a book from a local bookseller. Sometimes when I'm pre-ordering a book, I'll order from there. So bookshop.org is a cool, but I think it all counts the same though.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
Got it. Okay. All right. Movies with Balls. Kyle is here to get you to do that, but also we've had this conversation before. We believe that college baseball, and we can dig in and say ACC baseball, in terms of the entertainment space, wildly underrepresented for as popular as it is. So I think our starting point here is, and I've prepped you on this, so this is not a surprise to Kyle. We want to talk about ACC baseball storylines from past, maybe present. I don't know if you've got a good idea for a present storyline that would make a good movie. We want to turn some of these ideas out that could get college baseball movies made more. So I'll let you start with just like whatever your favorite of your ideas that you came up with is. An ACC baseball movie. What would you want to see made?
Well, in general, I mean, like you said, it's just a barren landscape. We've really got two college baseball movies. We've got Summer Catch, which, that's a movie where they said, hey, Freddie Prinze Jr., Jessica Biel, these are two young, attractive people. People will go see them in the movie theater. And then there's Everybody Wants Some, which for my money is like a top 5 baseball movie ever. Truly incredible. So we've got,
but that's it. But that's it. Right?
That's
like
it.
how have we not had movies based at the College World Series in Omaha? How's that not a regular, or at least somewhat regular thing, right?
So I always go back to in this there would be the two stories I think of like all the time that should be movies. One they've had a documentary, and unfortunately they're like ACC involved, but not ACC good. There's the Warren Morris home run, which they made a little SEC storied on. I'm really glad Gravy's not on the show. Was Gravy on that team?
What year was that? He was on
96. Really I interviewed on I do a podcast, as you know, in an interview series, and I interviewed Coach Jim Morris, and we talked about that and how like long that sat with him. But just an incredible story that was. I think the SEC little documentary on that was really cool. I think, it's a whole other conversation, but like college baseball documentaries, there should be 1,000 more.
That, by the way, Gravy made his debut in the big leagues in July of 96. So no.
Okay.
I didn't think so.
I think it was 96, but I'm glad for Gravy if he was not on that team, because that seems like it would have been a very tough loss.
Yeah.
And then this isn't like ACC specific, and I've got some ideas for that, but the thing that I always think should be made into a movie, should be optioned into a movie, is Ryan McGee's book, The Road to Omaha, which is it is a story about the College World Series. It's a narrative nonfiction of essentially the 2008 College World Series, and it's both telling you about the history of the College World Series, the town of Omaha, the atmosphere, and the through line is the playing of the 2008 College World Series, which featured Buster Posey's Florida State, Yonder Alonso's Miami. I believe the Alex White Dustin Ackley spearheaded UNC team was in the College World Series that year. I think this is Dustin Ackley's sophomore year. And but that also features the Fresno State team. that was still the lowest seed to win a College World Series. I think it's the perfect through line of this should be a movie, because you've got this underdog story. You've got I'm sure you and Gravy have debated this or talked about this, but like the best ACC player of all time in Buster Posey. Like,
yeah, I mean, if he's in the mix, in the conversation for sure.
Yeah, in the conversation, multiple ACC first rounders between Alonzo and Grandal and Alex White and Ackley. It's really cool because it's a loaded College World Series. That's Gordon Beckham's junior year, Josh Fields' senior year after he came back after being a first round pick. And I love the book. Coincidentally, it's also the only College World Series I've been to. So there's bias there, but something around that. I think the where you would start with college, the most untapped resource in college baseball is doing a movie around Omaha. Either you pick a specific team. If you're going off a true story, you pick that. Like Coach Morris's first Miami team that won a national championship. You could you could open the movie with the Warren Morris home run, and then kind of a history on how it's eluded them. There's that. There's also like a dark comedy about Florida State in Omaha, and it's just like a decades long like black comedy. And it ends like Moneyball ends with like the Oakland A's have still never won a World Series. Like there's that maybe ties in with what I came up with as my favorite idea. I think we should make a Mike Martin biopic. That I had that as well. I think,
and again, maybe. So get this. Hear me out. I came to a point where I was going to try to cast this Mike Martin movie, and I have there's an idea for an actor to be 11 that I like so much, but he's typically in comedies. And this would have to be like a groundbreaking, okay, it's an acclaimed, serious, dramatic role for one of the first times in his life. But I know he's got chops. And it's perfect that we're talking about this because he's been in other sports movies, okay? Do you know who Blake Clark is?
No.
Think Farmer Fran from The Waterboy.
The thing with the Sandler crew is you either have to say like Farmer Fran or you have to assign them one of their roles. But so he was also is it Harry in Home Improvement? He was the hardware store guy. Yeah And he's in 50 First Dates, he's the dad.
Yep.
So he's part of that Happy Madison universe.
So he portrays, I believe it's the same character, Farmer Fran in Joe Dirt. But anyways, I'm telling you, that might sound far-fetched. Go pull up a video of Mike Martin Sr. I actually, when I did this just for the exercise, it happened to be Carl Ravitch's post-game interview with him at his last College World Series. So the last interview 11 ever did. And I was like, okay, who are we getting? And it just hit me. So I'm telling you, go to Blake Clark's IMDb page, and on the next tab, pull up Mike Martin Sr., and it'll make sense. And if you hear Mike Martin talk, it'll make sense. Clark can do this.
They have the same like face, like the nose.
Yeah.
If you're looking at 11's nose, and like it's right there.
It's there. Okay. The other obstacle here would potentially be age.
Yes.
Because depending on how we write this movie, maybe we need multiple actors for different ages, different time periods, right? If we're going to go through 11's life or even just his career. Blake Clark is unfortunately currently 78. I don't know if he's, consistently working. But
Eastwood has a movie coming out. Like,
yeah, right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So, and Martin was 75 when he coached his last game, I think. He was 80 when he passed. So, there's at least the end, the end result, final stage, Mike Martin Sr. To me, Blake Clark, a.k.a. Farmer Fran, could do it. Now, and again, the style of movie that we do might even play to that a little bit. But I could not escape Blake Clark as 11.
Yeah. On that same note, I would love to see I would love to see Jim Morris. I would love to see his biopic because I got a little over an hour with him when I interviewed him, and I could tell he had 5 hours in him.
Yeah.
Like the stories for days, the guys who came through that Miami program.
See, now
because that means you get to
not as
cast
glad
Pat Burrell, you get to cast Ryan Braun, like you get to get into some interesting topics, you know, and you get the Miami flair. I think like we need to tie it back into like, I wish there were more college baseball documentaries. We need the U, but for baseball.
Yeah.
We need that 30 for 30.
It actually, now I'm upset that Gravy's not here because I want his take on casting Jim Morris. Like,
he would be the expert there.
He would. We would need, I would almost feel bad moving forward. I mean, it feels like something that we got to get Glenn Powell involved.
I have to.
Where's Costner going to fit in?
So that's the thing with baseball movie. Like I go back to Everybody Wants Some. The whole cast was most of them played baseball and either liked baseball or played a couple of the guys were small college players. Where played in high school. Tyler Hoechlin, who played the kind of the star on the team, played at UC Irvine, started at UC Irvine, and then Glenn Powell is a huge sports fan, and then all helmed by Richard Linklater, who played at Sam Houston State or went to Sam Houston State to play. I don't think it worked out fully, but like the best sports movies are built around people who love the sport. Like that's why Shelton, why his films are so successful, because he played minor league baseball, he played college basketball, loves golf, so that's why Bull Durham is great. It's why White Man Can't Jump is great. It's why he wrote Blue Chips, Tin Cup, obviously. And then Costner is a huge baseball fan, and specifically he's a huge college baseball fan. You can't make a college baseball movie if you don't find, like, it should just start around what can Costner do in this movie, and then we'll figure it out. Like, again, Costner is a huge like Fullerton fan. He got Augie Garrido into For Love of the Game as the Yankees manager. Like, it's so you like I was thinking about like how we would do this, and it's working around, like we'd need to find a good Boston College ACC baseball story because Affleck and Damon are huge baseball fans. Yeah. So it's like finding the talent that's a baseball fan. And like Vince Vaughn is a huge baseball fan. So it's where can we slot in Vince Vaughn? Can we make him Mike Fox or someone like that? If you're just or you pull from 70s, 80s, things like that, and you pull someone that we have less of a relationship with. I think that's where, like, recently we've been getting a lot of sports docs, the Untold series of like, we were all here for this stuff, like we like the Johnny Manziel one or the Florida one, like we saw all this, like we were there. And it's so I like the idea of pulling from stuff kind of in the 70s and 80s that we might not quite be as familiar with, but it's all about, if you're going to put together a college baseball movie, it's got to be a team that's passionate about baseball and ideally specifically college baseball. So it kind of starts with Costner.
I'd like, and this isn't pointed directly at anything ACC, but I like the idea of building it around Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Almost so much that we could do sort of like a and I say we're not making this movie anytime soon.
We actually, the producers are in the backstage in the studio right now. They're just listening to everything we've got.
So what if it was like a not that Fever Pitch is the standard by any
Still means. Like it though. Still like it.
But I think there's something to the formula. It is based on a real team, but
you like a rom-com.
I love a rom-com. It's based on a real team and real events of that team, but you make the vehicle of the film central, whereas the team and the happenings are tangential, or at the very least they're just sort of adjacent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could have this thing that's this whatever's happening is it happens to be occurring at the College World Series or while the College World Series is happening in Omaha. So I'm envisioning like a, I mean, you know, we don't want to do the Field of Dreams thing all over again, but it's like a father-son movie with Costner. It's a what about an
It's a
aging
guy,
father and
it's a
son?
player who portaled out of Creighton and transferred to an ACC team. And the only way he can, for some reason, the only way he's going to be able to see like his dream girl is if his team makes it to Omaha. And he portaled out to whoever's in last place in the ACC. And he's got to be the spear of this team. He's like, guys, we got to get to Omaha.
It's got a little bit of Summer Catch in it. Remember,
it does.
Ryan Dunn was from the Cape, and you know, it's like last chance to make an impression on scouts is at the Cape. Like this guy would have like the fractured relationship with his dad back in Omaha. He goes to see him when the team's back. I like this. This
has legs.
I think it's got legs.
Probably works better set in like 88 or anytime pre-smartphone. When you're a little more, if he leaves Omaha, doesn't know what's going on in Omaha. Can't keep up with everybody like he could now.
It's like Summer Catch meets small town Hallmark Christmas romance, where, you know, the business tycoon leaves her hometown and becomes this rich, ruthless businesswoman and comes back and sees a dude in flannel and a cowboy hat and loses her mind again, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting that, because I love the idea of setting it around Omaha, but both of the college, again, the small sample, but both of the college baseball movies we have are not set around. The competition isn't a big deal. Isn't like, we're not building up to something. Summer Catch, we do get the you know, the perfect game at the end, but it's about like the teeny bop romance and that whole thing. And it's not a serious movie. It's the Succession thing. You're not serious people. Everybody Wants Some is more about dudes hanging out. There's a practice scene. It's not really, it's about the bonding. It's doing some sort of baseball movie. I love the format of everybody like set over a weekend and if you do like college baseball series, I think if you did like a drama set across like South Carolina, Clemson, and there's something, maybe there's brothers on either team or there's something, but there's a bunch going on, and you know, Clemson, one of the teams has to win out to make it to Omaha. When did they play South Carolina, Clemson? Is that early in the year? Because I know it's not obviously conference play, but
yeah, typically pretty early, non-con.
Yeah, so some sort of it's a bunch of, maybe just a bunch of things coming to a head at once, because that's what college baseball like. One weekend, rivalry weekend. You know, it's trying to win the series against your rival. But if you've got college, you've got 30 players on both teams. There's a million different things going. I mean, you and I, you know, played at much smaller stakes, but like think about all there's a million different things going on with everybody. Like someone just got the news that they're failing the class, or they're going to be ineligible soon, or someone just,
especially at the end of a semester. Yeah,
someone, you know, someone's hurt and someone's a senior and someone
isn't graduating as they thought they would. Because
it's a bunch of things going on like that. So, you know, you could tie it around a bunch of different people, or you could tie it around one person rising to the moment. Again, the college baseball postseason works so perfectly for that. I mean, the Michael Ross, again, we're diving into different conferences. The Michael Ross story is like Michael Ross 2010. Yeah. It's 2010 or 2011, the year that he just, let's start the lefty specialist in you know, in a regional winner take all or regional elimination game, and he's nails it against, I think, Clemson. But yeah, something like that. It's there's just so much untapped there. You know, there's big ACC series that are untapped. You know, you set it around a weekend of Florida State, Miami.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say,
I would also watch a documentary about that. If someone was like, you know, we're going to capture Friday morning to last pitch Sunday at one of these intense series. Because the cool thing about documentaries, when they take you into things that you're not usually privy to, and we're not privy to what's going on in the locker room. where, you know, you're usually not in the ballpark for in and out or any of those things. And being able to follow that and then talk to people about what a weekend series means. That's why, I mean, I don't have to convince you. I probably don't have to convince your listeners, but that's the coolest thing about college baseball, that, you know, in June in the big leagues, or in August in the big leagues, like a 3-game Tigers twin set is not a huge deal to anybody except like me, who's rapidly following the Twins. But a May North Carolina Duke series is, with, you know, if you got 2 teams on the bubble, is massive. It's just 3 games. And it's kind of like a failing on Hollywood to not have, especially because of how many baseball movies they make, to not be like, hey, wow, the drama's really high in college baseball. It's really ramped up. It's a really short season. We could do something with this. Instead, it's like, no, let's just make bad pro baseball movies. Let's make Trouble with the Curve. Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. So I've got, just as I was jotting down some notes, some ideas for casting, because again, whether it be the Mike Martin movie, whether it be the ACC movie, as long as it's based on true events and it's set in some time periods that we believe to be significant to ACC baseball, it's going to include these people, even if just for a cameo. Okay. So I've got them written down. I just got to get them out. Okay. You mentioned, I love your Vince Vaughn. We just white out his hair, and he's Mike Fox. Perfect. We can, put people on stools to make him seem shorter, I guess, for that role. We'll see. But I like that. He's got to recall the True Detective accent a little bit, right? Is that the one he had an accent in? What am I thinking of?
He's got a weird accent, but True Detective is, I think True Detective season 2 is in LA.
What am I thinking of where he's got an accent? Oh, did you ever see it's an animated series, F is for Family? He played like a villain in that. He voiced like a villain in it. That's like this military vet.
He likes doing weird stuff.
Southern accent. It's a weird thing, but he nailed it. So like he'd be fine with Fox's accent, so that would be fine. I got to tell you, if we can put makeup and fake droopy skin on Nicolas Cage to make him John Madden, or whatever that new Colin Farrell role is, like if we can transform somebody's face to that degree in terms of aging, I've got an idea that I think is dynamite. There's going to be an Elliot Avent sighting in this movie. Jesse Plemons.
Oh, nails. He's done sports before. He did Friday Night Lights. Man, I know Jesse Plemons is now a serious actor. He's been nominated for Oscars and all that stuff. I hear Jesse Plemons and all I think about is Game Night.
Game Night. Yep.
How would that be profitable for Frito-Lay? That's all I can think about. It's just truly one of the best performances ever, playing a complete weirdo.
So Jesse Plemons as Elliot, that's the hill I'm going to die on. Cause I mentioned earlier, we got to get Glenn Powell involved. I think maybe what do you think of Glenn Powell as young, playing for Mike Martin Sr., Link Jarrett?
Oh, I mean, I love that because Powell can still play 20s. Man, I love that. I was trying to think of other celebrity baseball fans and just kind of throw them out for you to craft them.
Okay, I've got one more, and then we can get into to some of the off the top of our heads. Danny Hall will have to be represented. Danny Hall of Georgia Tech, of course. The listeners know that. I've never seen Gary Oldman in a sports movie.
So here's the thing. I might have an issue with British people being in a baseball movie.
That's fair.
I feel like in a baseball movie, I need you to have breathed it. I need you to have played Little League or something. Gary Oldman is phenomenal. He is incredible. He's literally won a Best Actor Oscar. He has been incredible. He has played Americans. He is our generation's Jim Gordon. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if he could do it. And it's like that knocks out so many, incredible personality. Like that means no Colin Farrell, no Pattinson, people like that. But like, I need you to have played Little League. I just think that I always go back to 61. You've seen 61, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That movie is great because of how much Billy Crystal loves baseball, how much Billy Crystal loves the Yankees. And you need that passion. There are things that people who are fans of baseball can do, like can see and can bring to a performance that are just not their live, not learn. And so I need, if I'm going to have someone in a baseball movie, I need them to have grown up here. I need them to have played some Little League. And that's not that there are plenty of people. Again, I mentioned Trouble with the Curve. There are plenty of people that I think everyone in that movie is American, and they all stink, from Timberlake to Eastwood to, I'll leave John Goodman out because he's John Goodman. He's great.
Sure.
But yeah, like I need, I just like, can we find a spot for Billy Crystal? Can we in this baseball movie? Can we just, if we're gonna have a college baseball movie, can we just load it with every baseball fan in Hollywood? Can we workshop Seinfeld into there? Can we, because he loves the Mets. John Hamm. John Hamm loves the Royals. John Hamm and Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Those are on the table as baseball fans. And does anyone look like more of a manager or a head coach than John Hamm?
Yeah, man. You were talking about a BC storyline. What about Hamm as Mike Gambino? Now, of course, formerly of Boston College. That could maybe work.
He's done the Northeast. He did the town.
Yeah. So he's done the Bostonian thing before.
Mm-hmm.
He's that could work. That could work. Who else are we missing? All right. So if we're casting this and we're just going off of first gut reaction, we've got Blake Clark, Farmer Fran,
that's
Mike Martin Sr., which is going to be his first dramatic role. He might win an Oscar for this.
He's going to owe you if this happens.
Jesse Plemons in heavy make him look older makeup is our Elliott Avent. Glenn Powell is Link Jarrett, the player at Florida State, playing for Blake Clark as Mike Martin. I've got Gary Oldman down as Danny Hall. Maybe it's just a quick cameo. We can make it work. He's going to make it work. Gary's great. We've got Vince Vaughn as Mike Fox. We'll say John Hamm as Mike Gambino. Who else would be coaching at this time? I'm trying to think. Oh, we need a Jack Leggett.
Yeah, I was just about to say Jack. And man, who can get in someone's ass like Jack Leggett? Who's a good movie screamer? Man, who's a good movie screamer is Gary Oldman, man. He can yell. Who's intense? Costner can. Costner's probably too old at this point, but for like this prime time kind of thing, because Costner is 70-ish. I don't have the Costner age off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's I pulled up a picture of legs just to try and pull some inspiration here.
Yeah, you know what? You know who he? I feel like
say it.
He doesn't not look like Christopher Maloney from Law and Order SVU.
I'm laughing because I think that's it. Like I'm not laughing because it's laughable. I'm just
who can also yell, who can get mad at someone. I
has also been in baseball movies.
Yes.
Was he what was he in? What am I thinking of?
He's in it's like a small one, isn't it?
Was it 8 Men Out?
No.
What has he been in?
He was in 42. He plays Leo DeRocher.
Yes. Okay. Right. Yeah. There it is. All right. Okay. I think that might be it. Maloney is Leggett.
That's a good one.
That's a good. No, you nailed it. That's good. That's good. I told you this was not going to be anything like prior episodes.
Gotta imagine this is how casting goes in Hollywood. I mean, I don't know, but I gotta feel like this is it. This is how.
Yeah, I think we just did it. I think we just made the ACC baseball movies. So hopefully,
and then starring a bunch of guys who just washed out of the minor leagues as all the players. That'll be perfect. You'll find someone who can do it.
That is the best. Like when you can tap into. And other movies have done this, right? It's not a big time actor that's got name recognition, or you would recognize their face, but the choreography is so good because they're actual players that it becomes.
The dude who played David Justice in Moneyball is the epitome of this. Yeah. He's got a beautiful swing. I can't remember his name, but he played in the minors. He's played other athletes in movies before. But he's got a beautiful swing, does the job. That's all you need. You don't need Chris Pratt to play Scott Hatterberg. You just need a baseball player.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because you know what you need people to believe Scott Hatterberg is? Just a baseball player.
Just a baseball player.
Just a baseball player. So I get it. Yeah. Okay, let's wrap. That was fun. I'm glad we indulged ourselves and did that. Let's wrap. With one more question about the book, Kyle Bandujo, Movies with Balls. Find it, buy it. It'll be the most fun you have sifting through anything of its kind. But that feels like a reach because I don't know that there's anything of its kind. That's kind of the point. It's top sports movies.
Mm-hmm.
Is it ranked numerically? Like, how did you find yourself organizing, like, how to put it together and sort of the formation of it?
We separated them into 3 sections. One is the best that never was, or best there ever was, kind of the riff on the natural. One is Blood, Sweat, and Tears. One is Glory Lasts Forever. Paraphrasing the Shane Falco quote from The Replacements, and then kind of just grouped them as they would fall into those phrases. The only one that was ranked, we lead the book off with Bull Durham. That's my favorite. That was the easy choice for like, hey, this is what I want to be first. Is also the first thing I wrote. So it's probably different in tone from like some other things in the book because it was a long process. But we more grouped them into like types. Like, so for Blood, Sweat, and Tears, it was like Dodgeball and Slapshot and A Knight's Tale, movies where people get roughed up a little bit.
Nice.
Best There Ever Was is we kind of shifted, tried to have it where it was about kind of an individual, the natural, Teen Wolf. I think we have Bull Durham in that section because we focused in on Nuke Lelouch. But yeah, it was more, I've never been able to do a good ranking. I can always say, Bull Durham won, and then it's like whatever I'm feeling that day.
Yeah, that's fair. While we're on it, we mentioned Costner and you just mentioned Bull Durham. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Durham Bulls have a strong connection to the ACC when it comes to baseball. While we're on it, Major League Baseball is doing these like pop-up site games and neutral site games, and there's going to be one at Bristol Motor Speedway now. That obviously the point there is to just obliterate the single game attendance record, mm-hmm. like they did with college football when it was Tennessee and Virginia Tech playing there.
Mm-hmm.
We've done Field of Dreams. There's got to be a Durham Bulls game.
I honestly shocked there hasn't been.
There has to be. Costner would be in on it. You had him like
88 or 89, so like 2028, 2029. But you'd want to do it while Costner's still, able to go there, throw out the first pitch. So you'd want to do it soon.
Yeah, I just I think that. And again, sick. you could do it at the old Durham Athletic Park and just sort of treat it like you did Fort Bragg for the mm-hmm. July 4th game some years ago, and have just like an actual pop-up stadium, right? Mm-hmm. Because that the old park where the movie was shot is not gonna hold enough people. I mean, mm-hmm. if you did it at the new park, it's not gonna hold as many people as you probably want it to, but it would be easier to just sort of put stands out in the outfield at the old park. And like you said, you could get Costner there. You could make it this big TV event. It's in an area where they've talked about if expansion is a thing for Major League Baseball. It's one of the key areas because geographically it's a market that they want to, appease more. We make it happen. Major League Baseball
makes all the sense in the world.
Make it happen. You could even include, because the modern day Durham Bulls are affiliates of the Tampa Bay Rays. You could put the Rays in it. They're old Braves affiliates. You could put the Braves and Rays in a TV game, and people are going to want to watch.
Oh, can you get people to watch the Braves in the South? Is that a thing? Like,
right. Easy money. So if you are a decision maker with Major League Baseball and listening, heed that advice. I've been waiting for it for years.
If you're a decision maker in Major League Baseball, you have to pay Daron if you want to do that. You have to.
Okay. Yes. Yep.
You have to credit Daron with the idea and pay him.
All right. That's it. Anything else we should know about this book? I know it's been a long process for you, and I've seen over the years sort of the evolution of how it came together idea-wise, right? From the you mentioned the ticket stubs, and it's become so much more than that.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. It lived multiple lives. I'm glad it's finally here. I think anyone who likes movies will enjoy it. It's not something you have to sit down and read cover to cover. You can flip through a section, find your favorite one. It's something for, again, great gift, anything for your families to enjoy. And please buy it, because I like to send my kids to college. So that every book helps.
All right. He's Kyle Bandujo. That does it for ACC Baseball, etc. Go purchase your copy of Movies with Balls. Enjoy. We'll be back to actually talk ACC baseball next time. I promise. Take care.